When there's a nuclear war, the electric grid goes down, an H5N1 pandemic hits, or any of the 50 plus disaster trigger events that we track at Disaster Preparedness and Fortitude Ranch happens, a collapse will result, meaning a loss of law and order, a breakdown of society that could last for several months, possibly years. Your septic system, especially if there's a lot of people surviving at your bug out location, won't handle months or years of waste. Neither municipal fresh or wastewater systems will be operating, so you're going to be in a deep shit situation. Now, as preppers, we use the term when the shit hits the fan all the time, and I got bleeped on Fox News when I used that standard terminology when the shit hits the fan.
Well, we're a survival facility, so in good times our members can come here and recreate and vacation, but when the hits the fan, and that's actually the term preppers use, that's HTF, when that happens, we turn into survival communities.
So in this instructional video on how to build this great outdoor toilet that can collect human waste, to avoid the four-letter S word, I'm going to use another more acceptable term, precious bodily fluids.
I can no longer sit back and allow communist infiltration, communist indoctrination, communist subversion, and the international communist conspiracy to sap and impurify all of our precious bodily fluids.
This video gives you instructions on how to design, plumb, and build an outside bathroom facility that's odor-free and allows collection of human waste for use in fertilizer. If you heard that human waste can't be used for fertilizer, that's not true. It can be used, but it takes longer, a year to decompose, and it's best to use it for crops like hay that animals eat rather than garden fertilizer for plants that humans eat directly. So there are two big collapse survival benefits from this outside waste collection toilet design that we use at Fortitude Ranch. First, you avoid filling up your septic system, and secondly, you gain fertilizer for your ranch livestock fields. I'm going to rapidly flip through slides in this briefing showing you how to build this outside nice waste collecting toilet quickly on the video, so you can get detailed written plans for this outside sanitary toilet on the Collapse Survivor website. You just go to the preparedness knowledge base that's on the Collapse Survivor website, and you can download the detailed instructions on how to build it. I'm just going to highlight them in this video. And this is a shot, the homepage for the Collapse Survivor app. So this is basically what you're building. It's an outside toilet room. In this case, it's a two-toilet system at Fort Ranch, Texas, with 3-inch PVC that brings and ties together the precious fluids from two toilets, drops it into a septic hose, and then into a 40-gallon septic waste tank on wheels. That's the waste tank there. We use humor a lot in the military to help you deal with bad situation, and it keeps morale up. And sometimes at Fortitude Ranch, we call this the Fortipotty. And I'm going to say some rather silly things in this video to make it a little bit less boring. What you're basically going to do is modify a really nice toilet into something that can collect your precious bodily fluids. So this is not an outhouse. You're not sitting on wood, depositing your precious bodily fluids into the ground. You sit on a nice toilet with a watertight seal. It's airtight, no bad odors, no unsightly things to see. Basically what you're doing is you have to modify quite a bit of plumbing parts to get this to work, and I'm going to show you that on the next several slides. And again, you go to the Collapse Survivor website to get the detailed instructions on how you do this. So to make this work, you're going to have to modify some plumbing parts because you're mixing different types of plumbing and things that don't normally connect together like we're connecting them here. We recommend you build the outside toilet room well off the ground. Use steps to get up to the entry platform because you don't want to have to dig that deep a ditch for your waste holding tank. And as you can see in some of these later slides, by the time you join these two toilets together, you end up dropping down several feet, and thus you want to be higher off the ground. You can see here that at the end of the 3-inch PVC, we've now put on the black connector for the sewer hose connection. So again, this is not an outhouse. It's not like you're sitting on plywood with the hole below showing you the preciouses from other people. You just don't have that.
Precious.
So this is the completed porta-potty. The waste tank's down below. That's the vent pipe running up there. And I know some of you are thinking, what happens if a marauder group attacks while I'm using the porta-potty, offloading my precious bodily fluids? Well, the patented porta-potty can be modified by cutting a shooting portal in the side and then situating the porta-potty on your outer defensive walls. That way, when you're using the porta-potty, you can also pull guard duty. But the approach we follow at Fortitude Ranch is we keep our porta-potties in the center of our defensive compounds. That way they're easier access and you're not going to get shot at while attending to your precious bodily fluid. When you dump your waste, you obviously want to dump it fairly far away where you're not going to smell it, but not too far from the fields where you'll eventually use it for fertilizer. At Fortitude Ranch, what we plan to do is to dump our waste in a place where we're likely to have a marauder group sneaking up on us, like a little ravine, or a great place for an observation team to camp out. And what we could do, if you're a Vietnam War veteran and remember punchy sticks, you could sharpen sticks, set them in the ground, cover that with the manure, the precious fluids, and the foliage to cover it. Make sure all your members know don't go anywhere near there. And then if a marauder group comes diving in there for cover, they could have a rude surprise. I'm not going to say whether I'm serious about this or just joking. If you're wise enough to be a Fortitude Ranch member, you can use the porta-potty during vacation visits or during collapse survival. If you're a Braveheart fan, you'll remember the term prima nocta, or first night, the right of an English lord to take a new Scottish bride into his bed on her first night of marriage. There's no evidence this was ever true, but prima potty, first use of the toilet, is true and will happen now. Again, you can get the written instructions for this porta-potty for free on the Collapse Survivor website. It's collapsesurvivor.com, then go to the Preparedness Knowledge base. The porta-potty is a comfortable, odor-free way to dispense your precious bodily fluids with the critical advantages of not overloading your septic system and saving the precious waste for later field fertilizer use. There's certainly far worse things that you can sit on.
Hey, what about Major Kong?
If you want to learn about collapse threats, how to prepare and survive, then like this video and subscribe to this channel. Otherwise, you could miss something important. We appreciate your support.